sure I'm a lot like you, that I sometimes get discouraged by what's going on around us. It's easy for the news and stuff to get us down. And all I know is this, that over time, our world and our lives, we just need a lot more grace. We need people in our lives that exude grace. And we need to be people that exude grace back to others. I know Reformation Sunday is not the big deal it used to be. It used to be an excuse for Lutherans and Catholics to beat each other up one time a year. And we've come a long way since then. I mean, later on in the service, when you stand up and I do the benediction and 2/3 of you cross yourselves, it's kind of a breeze that goes throughout the room. It's a testimony that we've really come together. And maybe you can remember days when, I remember my grandmother came to me when I was younger and she says, Donnie, she's the only one that called me then. She goes, Donnie, your cousin, Glenn, just got engaged. And I said, I know, I'm so excited. But she said, she's Catholic. And she would whisper like it was a disease. And now you're just hopefully that your kids marry somebody who's from the same planet, let alone the same church. But it's that issue that gave birth to this incredible institution called the Lutheran Church some 500 years ago. And the spirit of being Lutheran is captured in the second lesson for today, where the apostle says, all of us have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, to be sure. And now we are justified by God's grace, which is a gift. I'm not sure what your perception of heaven is, and you probably don't think about it much because we got way too much stuff to worry about down here. But whatever heaven is, and wherever it is, we get there by God's grace. And we cannot do it by ourselves. You see, the church has all kinds of ways to make you feel guilty. And hopefully we're over most of it. You don't go to Mass enough. You haven't been to church in years. You're behind in your offering. You went through a divorce. You don't act like you believe in God anymore. Well, Martin Luther basically said that faith is not about what you do. Faith is not about doing it by yourself. Rather, faith is the discovery that God's grace is a part of every step we take. And wherever we go in life, we can't do it by ourselves. The key word is amazing grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound who saved a wretch like me. I love that word, wretch. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, and now I see. I can see clearly now. Heaven is not a destination. Heaven is a journey laced with love and hope and goodness and hopefully a really good dose of grace. And this is exactly what the world needs more of. I mean, I need to be more graceful in just the way I walk every day. I need to accept people and things that are different than I am. I need the grace to slow down and to enjoy the simple gifts and miracles that cross my path every single day. I need to carry myself with more gentleness and kindness to people that even kind of irritate you and aren't on the same page. Because this is what religion is. Religion is not catechism. Religion is not a textbook. Religion is not what's on the sign. Religion is the way you walk every day. And if religion doesn't make a difference in the way you walk tomorrow, then there's no sense in having religion at all. That's Jesus' kind of religion. So Friday, I was leaving the church. And like I do 3 times a day, I got down LaGrange Road and I forgot my phone. So I made my 23rd U-turn of the day. And I came back into the church parking lot. And at the front door is a young man and his father. I look at the young man and I said, Alejandro, what are you doing here? And he introduces me to my dad. You look at Alejandro, a senior at Sandburg, and his dad, and without saying a word, these 2 Hispanic men just exude goodness and grace. It's in their eyes, it's in their face. And Alejandro had cancer of the knee a couple of years ago and has been treated for cancer for 2 years and had to stop running on the cross-country team. And I said, well, Alejandro, to what do I deserve the honor of your presence today? And he said, well, I just want to give you this note of thanks. and I open it up. And it's a thank you note to me and the church for the money he got to help him go to college next year. And I said, Alejandro, I, or the church, did not give you that money. Your teammate, John Wagner, gave you that money. And I remember that Thursday night when John Wagner, who was a senior, came on Thursday night to receive his $350 scholarship to help him go to college, to buy like one textbook. And John came up here to receive his check. And he said in front of us on Thursday night, thank you for the check. I don't need it as much as somebody else, because his parents did. I said, we need it, we need it. No, they wouldn't. John said, I'm going to give this money to Alejandro because he needs it more than I do. He's been battling cancer for 2 years, and I want him to have it. And so I talked to Alejandro, and I said, remember, John, and Alejandro said, no, no, no. When John gave me the money, he made it very clear that the money he got came from the church. And so I'm not just thanking John and his family, I'm thanking you and the church, because that is where the money came from. You know, I don't know, but Alejandro and his dad, they are the secret to world peace. That kind of grace is what life is all about. And so I'm on my way home yesterday from the cross-country meet that Alejandro could not run in, and I'm going north on Pulaski, and I see a brand new dollar store. And so I pass it up and make my 24th U-turn of the day. And I go into the parking lot and get out, and I'm walking behind a young man, maybe 10 years old, and his mom. And an elderly lady pulls into the parking lot and opens up her door and kind of yanks her walker out the front door, and the walker falls on the parking lot, and she tries to reach for it, and she can't. And I saw this young boy tap his mom on the shoulder and say, Mom, just wait for me inside. I got something to do. And this young boy walks over to the front door where this lady dropped her walker, and he picks up the walker, and he gives it to her. He makes sure that she gets on the walker, and he walks her into the dollar store. And I go up to them in the dollar store, and I just said, you know, that was awesome. You're going to be in my sermon tomorrow. And they look at me like I have 3 heads, you know. So on my way back to the church, my thoughts turned to Alejandro. My thoughts turned to a college student named John and his family. I think about a young man in the parking lot. I think of the disabled vets that we'll see later this afternoon. I'm thinking of the angry words that I heard on the news, and I only watched it for 7 minutes before coming to church. But more importantly, when I walked in here this morning, I saw the flowers on the table. I saw a clean washroom. I saw a sanctuary with a cross and a flag in it. I thought of a custodian who loves this place like a rock. And I know our world is flawed. And I know our country can be flawed too. And I know our church is flawed. But there's a graceful young man named Alejandro. There's a 10-year-old in a parking lot I will never see again. And they reminded me once again of what our country and our church stands for. And all I know is we just need a little more grace. Amen.